This was my first time directing a horror short, and let me tell you, it was challenging. Horror isn't easy. It's about creating fear and suspense, and that was a tough thing to capture, but I wanted to push myself. So here we are, project 3 out of 100, my first horror short film, The Ritual. So if you haven't seen it, link will be in the description down below, so go check it out. Now, making this short film was full of surprises, some good and some not so good. And this is exactly why I'm creating this series, to show you guys exactly what it takes to make a film, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Pre-production. The idea for this project really hit me after watching a clip from The Conjuring. I wanted to create something that could even capture a fraction of what I felt when I saw The Conjuring. But to do that, I had to get the right team together. Now, finding the right people was harder than I expected. I reached out to other filmmakers that I wanted to work with, hopped on a few calls, and I found a DP. But unfortunately, they canceled. So I had to find another DP, one that I already worked with before on my first project, Sean. We talked, we did some location scouting, and found out that shooting here in my home would be the best idea. The next challenge was building my crew, finding the sound, finding a gaffer, finding a first AC and a second AC. Now, I don't have access to a lot of filmmaking friends, so that was one of my challenges. So if you guys are out there that would love to create on my next project, leave some comments down below. One of my favorite parts about pre-production was creating the bottle. It was such a small detail, but horror really thrives on atmosphere and little touches like that. I spent hours trying to find the right items to make it feel eerie and mystical. When you're doing a horror, every prop and every piece really adds to the atmosphere of your project. So pay attention to that. Next was trying to find the actor for my project. I knew a couple of influencers on social media, so I reached out to a few of them. But one stuck out to me in particular, Brandy. She'd done a lot of shorts and she's also very movie inclined, so I gave her a shot. She was down, we set up a call and we got to it.
Not had one of these nights in a long time. You can actually keep the kid if you want.
Perfect. Production. After the whole crew came over around 5, we didn't really get started filming until 7:30, and we wrapped at 5:30 in the morning. We'll get to that. It was my first time directing a horror, and it wasn't easy. I had to really worry about calling out the shots and creating a sense of fear and suspense without no music, without any effects, just imagination. And that's what I didn't know. When we put everything together and we say quiet on set, it's literally just you and the actor. How do you make something scary with nothing to play off of besides your imagination? I didn't know that, so there go a lesson. Now, working late into the night created its own kind of tension. As it got later, the fatigue started to set in. There were shots that I wanted to capture, but time really got the best of us. We got what we could, but horror relies on precision, and it was hard to capture everything I envisioned. Post-production. Now, editing some horror, I'm thinking you can just add a few sound effects here and there and call it a day. Boy, was I wrong. Every frame, every shadow, every cut has to work together to create suspense. I spent about a week trying to find the right pacing on creating horror. It's way different from a narrative film versus a horror film, because sometimes you need to drag out a scene to create tension, and that took me a very long time. Since we couldn't use any sound on set to create a scare, I had to build that tension in post. I played with the color correction and darkening the shadows to keep everything feeling eerie and suspenseful. Maybe a little too dark. Another thing I had to learn, don't push the shadows too dark. Lessons learned. This project pushed me as a director in ways I hadn't anticipated. Directing a horror is intense. It takes creativity, patience, and attention to every detail. Moving forward, I want to keep getting better at my craft and discover what really drives me as a director. I also want to work with new crew members, learn from them, and also grow with them as well. Project 3 out of 100 is in the books, but this journey is just the beginning. If you have any feedback, ideas, or advice, drop the comments down below. Thank you all for watching, and stay tuned for Project 4. Let's just keep creating, keep moving forward, and I'll see you guys on set.